I'm going to, as Christine said, I'm going to try to speak quite quickly. We're going to cover a lot of ground. And I'm going to try to talk quickly about what we do in our department to prepare you for life after journalism school, compete in the job market, and what the landscape of journalism looks like for our graduates. You're going to compare a lot of things in making your decision about whether or not to come to graduate school and whether Columbia is the right fit for you. But when it comes to our Office of Career Development, the bottom line is that we know the industry, we know the business, we have a proven track record of success, and we have the most powerful alumni network in journalism. We have 100 years worth, 12,000 alums, which is a great benefit for all of us. This is the J School, get used to it, the 5 W's, who we are. We're a team of 3.5. We've all had careers as journalists and graduate educators. I spent 20 years at ABC Network Television. I taught full-time at the journalism school for 7 years and then joined Career Services. Gina was a newspaper editor and reporter, my sidekick here, for 15 years, and then taught journalism at NYU for 7 years. Elaine Cabral is also a member of our team. You met her recently. Many of you met her. She's the director of our part-time program. She teaches the core reporting class at the journalism school. She's a J School alum, and she was a reporter at the Miami Herald. So between us, we have a lot of experience, and we speak the language of journalism, so that really does pay off when we speak to employers in terms of jobs and opportunities for our graduates. That's what we're about. What can you expect from us? Well, I don't think I can say it any better than our grads said it. I don't want to tell you we're 24/7, but the fact that Gina's here and wasn't expected today on the program, she just felt that you know, she wanted to be able to share her expertise with anybody that had questions after this session. So I think that definitely tells you something about our office. It's not 24/7, but here we are. We get to know you. We get to know our students. It's not like the undergraduate career services where they don't know your name and the only people that come to the Expo are from Peace Corps and Coca-Cola and maybe the military. So based on your interests and our specializations, each of you will choose one of us, one of the 3 counselors, and we will work with you one-on-one. You come in for a primary consult. We help you figure out where you want to go in journalism. A lot of you have amazing skills that we can unpack that are transferable to employers. A lot of you bury the lead, and you really have some amazing things to contribute. We overhaul your resume. We give you a realistic roadmap of what we think that will help you get to where you want to go. It may not always be what you want to hear, but we've had a lot of success. Everybody makes their own decisions about how to navigate in the world. We also hold a lot of sessions to give you the skills that you need to be competitive in the job market. Killer cover letters. We have a special formula for resumes, digital portfolios, mock interview sessions. We really try to whip you into shape to be able to compete. When do we do it? It's constant. We're not an ivory tower where we just sit here and watch the world of journalism from the hallowed halls of Columbia. We bring the outside world in. This year alone, our department alone has had more than 60 sessions. Recruiters, alums, editors, sometimes they come, they talk about their companies, they talk about the industry, what they're looking for in particular. Sometimes they do interviews while they're on campus. Just to name a few visits of those 60. And this is just, you know, there's a lot of one-on-one connection in these sessions as well. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Miami Herald. Gina does a terrific freelance panel at the end of the year for people who want to have careers as freelancers. We did one on local broadcast newsreels, data journalism. You couldn't possibly go to all the sessions that we have just in our department, and then the rest of the school is busy 24/7 with these kinds of events. There are people coming into your classrooms, as Thule mentioned, you know, with all the documentary guests. you couldn't go to half of them and graduate. So the entire school is really one giant networking opportunity, education and networking. And the big Megillah is our Career Expo. We're still recovering from it. It was just 1 week ago today. Christine has we have a little video. The video that we have is from a couple of years ago. This year, the Expo was bigger and better, and it was pretty good a couple years ago. We had a crew that filmed the Expo, and in September when you come, we'll show you what this year's looked like, but this is pretty close. I think we're missing the music.
Sound.
I knew it was going to be a big event, but I think once the doors open and you get past the name tags, it was a lot bigger of a production than I thought it'd be.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Career Expo. We are now seating for the 9 a.m. appointments.
The Career Expo is a great way to meet people, to connect and network.
The career fair, it's really crazy. Feels like speed dating.
I think it's also a great warm introduction to the employers.
Tell me a little bit about some of your strongest skill sets.
So far, I've been doing print and digital, but I also really love creating videos for web.
Many of them asked about data and social media. They are also asking about how you find the stories. When you talk about your clips or something, they really want to know, so how did you find it? Which sources did you talk to?
The good thing about our school is that we really get all aspects of it.
Really, the people that we're looking for can do anything.
We're coming up with the ideas. We're doing the pre-reporting. We're like finding the sources. We're shooting. We're editing.
We've traveled a long way to get here, but it's been worth it because we've found at least 3 or 4 people I think I would be willing to hire.
ESPN's here every year just because the candidates are so impressive. Like I said, I feel like everyone that I sit down with, I'm blown away. What a great fit a lot of Columbia people have been at ESPN is what keeps us coming back.
I've been going strong since 9 o'clock this morning. I had about 8 or 9 interviews. I interviewed at places like Bloomberg TV, Yahoo News, CNN Money.
Everyone here was just so welcoming and friendly and wanting to talk to us and find out more about us as students and what our skill sets are so they can figure out a good match.
I've done about 12 or 13 interviews. I'm exhausted, but I couldn't be happier about the doors that I opened today.
Pleasure meeting you. I'll be in touch.
All right, great to meet you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
You know, now in hindsight, it was all worth it. You know, all the preparation.
This is all what we come to the J School for. To finally have this moment is a great experience. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes after today.
So as you can see, there's a lot of energy in that room, and if you join the class of 2018, you will have your own expo just for you, the class of 2018. So it is a giant networking event, and we're very clear that nobody is rolling out a red carpet of jobs just because Columbia is graduating. But about an hour ago, we heard from the New York Times that they met somebody at the Expo, an MA Science student, and they offered her a summer internship on their climate team. Yesterday, late afternoon, a student came in. He's already been offered an internship with CNN, happens to be an international student, CNN Atlanta Special Projects team for the summer. He's also being considered for an AP position in London for the summer, and in the meantime, he met somebody from Now This at the Expo who's brought him in for an interview for an associate producer job on the politics team in Washington. A couple of other students have been offered AP internships as well. Another one from the Expo was offered a position as a broadcast assistant for a brand new program at CBS News. 4 students, colleagues of Eva, have been invited to interview with local news companies in Maryland and Illinois. You have to be willing to go to the middle of nowhere for some of the on-camera positions. Another MA student was offered a full-time arts reporter position in public radio. CNN Money called somebody in for an interview. So it's looking pretty good. We feel really great about the Expo, and the market feels pretty healthy.
That's true. I mean, every year we have no idea what the job market will be at the end of the year, but now that we're getting closer to the end of the year, it feels like it's a pretty healthy job market. So many of you, I recognize faces from the prospective student sessions in the fall. So I'm sorry if some of this is going to be redundant, but I wanted to just tell you, we don't know like how this class will do, but I can give you a few benchmarks from last year's class. And for the last maybe 5 years, our students have been sort of 72, 73% employed by the end of the year. And remember, this means internships and jobs and people who have been committed to do freelance work, or people who are going back to school for another degree program. There's a whole lot of different categories because you're an adult population. You have free choice. So it's a pretty diverse range of opportunities. Throughout the summer, that number steadily ticks up. And I do know that I mentioned in the fall, you need to interrogate numbers at other schools that you may have gotten into and ask them when they took their measure, because all of us, keep statistics on our website, and it's supposed to be published, and we're pretty transparent with our numbers. And so if you are weighing other offers, these are the hard questions you ought to be asking, like, when they take their measure, and what percentage of the class is it counted. And so these are just things you should be aware of. So internships are going to be the most likely outcome, and this is always a shock to people when they find out, even if they've had a few years experience. Internships are not terrible things to us. In fact, we love internships. I mean, you're so much better off doing an internship at a major news organization after J school. And so we do push them. We push them because there's a huge sort of deadline surge that happens in the fall that students apply for, and the deadlines continue. You heard that one of the students mentions how they're inundated with emails from us. We're your moms while you're at J school, and we send too many emails. We know that, but it's because we're very sort of caffeinated ourselves, and so it spills out to you. So I did do what I recommend also is that you look on LinkedIn and go to the Columbia Journalism School's LinkedIn page, and you can sort through it by students and alums, and you can enter companies and enter countries, and you can just see where our grads land, and it is really impressive. Now, you can do this for every school, but this school being centrally located, media capital of the world, we do have a lot of people at the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, et cetera. And the last time I counted, which was a few months ago, these numbers change a lot, and not everybody in LinkedIn is counted because some people don't join, LinkedIn or mention or whatever. But the New York Times has 67 alums, the Washington Post 22, BuzzFeed 20, Huffington Post 23, Vice 16, ABC News at least 40. It's like that. So I would recommend that you think of your dream companies and go onto this site and just start looking at the profiles. And you have to go through every one because sometimes I'm talking about current employees, not worked there at some point in the past. That said, our department isn't career placement. This is journalism. We can't tell editors what to do, and nothing happens many months in advance. Editors, surprisingly, operate on deadline just like you guys do. So they are hiring at the last possible minute. They come to the Expo telling us we don't have any job openings, and 3 days later they have job openings. So that's the nature of journalism. So you do have to go find your job. We give you all the tools you need. We help you in so many ways, but you're the one who takes the initiative and makes your list and charts out your applications and gets them in on time, et cetera.
And needs to have some luck in the process.
Yes, and connections. Okay, a comment on international students, who are a very vital part of the school.
Okay, a few words just for the international students. As Gina mentioned, we are very transparent. We are not career placement for international students. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's a very challenging market for you. When you graduate, you'll all be eligible for the OPT visa that allows you to work in the States for a year. But there are many companies that will not look at students on OPT because they don't sponsor, and therefore they don't want to invest in somebody that is not going to be able to stay with them. Fewer than a handful of international students get sponsored to be able to stay in this country, and so that don't think of the J-School degree as fabulous as it is as any kind of magic carpet that's going to allow you to stay in this country long-term or even indefinitely. If you decide to go back to your home countries, your degree will be the gold standard. Just to be fair, the converse is also true. Many American students have their heart set on going overseas, being foreign correspondents. It's just as tough for you as well. Being a foreign correspondent, you need to have work authorization. Unfortunately, most American news companies don't cover international news, as tragic as it is, and we hope that all you are going to change that in the future. So a very few of you will be able to make that happen, but these careers don't come easily. So international students and American students looking to go abroad, we want you to know what the real deal is. That said, our international students hustle more. They get some of the plum opportunities every single year, and at least as far as I can recall, they're just about at the top of the class every year, if not valedictorian, one of the top students.
Okay, in addition to what's going on in the job market, we have organized many exclusive internship opportunities that are just for our students, including at the Alaska Dispatch News, Al Jazeera, ABC News in London and in Washington, D.C., Grupo Clarín in Argentina, the BBC in Washington, PBS Frontline, Univision, Reuters, La Stampa in Italy, Ozzy in San Francisco, and then we've got some slots designated for our students at the Marshall Project, at The Trace, which is a site that covers the gun issues. We're trying to organize something at the Frontier, which is an investigative site in Tulsa, Trumpland, and we've got another slot also in Wisconsin, at Wisconsin Watch, also another investigative site in Paul Ryan's home state. So, you know, in addition, there are some J-School-based fellowships that are very desirable and competitive. One in environmental reporting, which it takes a few students each year. One in a team of also in education reporting, which also takes a few students. And there's a long-form writing fellowship at the J School for a couple of students, and then CJR, Columbia Journalism Review, also takes 3 students.
Those are one-year, very special programs under the auspices of the J School. We're all very proud of both our exclusive summer internships, which are paid positions all around the world, as Gina mentioned, as well as these new reporting fellowships.
And, you know, they pay pretty well. You know, it's at Columbia with full benefits and such. Let me just briefly talk about salaries in general and remind you that you didn't choose journalism for the money. You're in it for the fun and for the thrill and not the money. However, it is a career that starts out low and then gets much, much better. So internship pay is bad. You know, we're not going to sugarcoat it, as Julie says. You know, we have heard of internships at major news organizations paying $7.50 an hour, and that's the truth. However, it leads somewhere. An internship leads to a job. The more typical salary for an internship is like, you know, $10, $11, $12, $15 an hour, which sounds low, but, you know, again, they're short-term. They're short-lived, and they lead somewhere. The full-time jobs seem to go for, you know, our students are reporting back to us, you know, 40, 50,000 a year. Full benefits are coming back. You know, during the height of the recession, it seemed like benefits were something that were falling by the wayside, and now we hear of students getting, you know, being offered full benefits, you know, health and dental and 401ks and all that, you know, grown-up stuff. So, you know, the bottom line is the more flexible you are, the more options you will have to consider. You know, what happens is students come here, they fall in love with New York, and they never want to leave. They're afraid if they leave, they'll never be allowed back into the gates of New York. And it's not true. You have a better career, a faster track back to New York if you leave New York. And that has always been the case, that where you have better luck if you sort of get a job where you can be in a smaller market, make mistakes without it landing in, you know, the society pages or you know, landing on Gawker. Well, we don't have Gawker anymore, but you know, you want to be somewhere where you can make mistakes, where your editor is going to understand that you're on a learning curve, and that's outside of New York, where you're going to get more responsibility and you're going to get to cover big stories, and that, you know, that's not quite the case. This is not a starter market, so the more willing you are to be flexible, the farther your career will go and the faster your career will go. So we'll help you understand the job market. We are a broken record a lot of times, and, you know, students find us maybe a little overbearing, but it's all for the good. It's all for your benefit, and we do care about you. We want you to succeed. We really do want you to succeed, and so we're behind you. That's it. If we have time for questions, I don't know if we do.
I think we probably have to stop now, but Julie and Gina, will you be able to go back over to your offices?
Yeah, I can.
For a little bit?
Uh-huh.
So Julie and Gina will also be back over at the journalism school. The admissions and financial aid office will be open. I'd like to thank all of you for being so attentive, for joining us today. If you have questions, come on back over to talk with us. If you can't stay, you know where to email us, call us, send us. We're happy to talk by Skype as well. Thank you all very, very much.